Hey everyone, so today I'm going to do part 3 of my birthing experience and also adoption experience. It kind of all merges into one because it happened so quickly and in the same time frame. If you're interested in seeing part 1 and 2, I will link them below. Where I left off last was that we took Jason home and he was ours after Megan had signed the papers. And that left me with a newborn baby boy and also being pregnant, which was a crazy time in life. On top of that, I was still working, and I worked my job up until a couple weeks before I gave birth. And so it was a crazy time in my life. A lot of people will ask how I did it, and honestly, Jason is so part of my pregnancy with Jonah that it's really kind of neat when I look back at it. Like the first time I saw Jonah on an ultrasound, Jason was there. My husband wasn't able to make it, but Jason was there. And so he couldn't understand what he was looking at, but he was there. And it's just like those little memories. When Jonah was born, Jason shortly after got to meet him. And it was just really neat. So the whole pregnancy was a bit of a blur. I was not someone who really loved being pregnant. I had a lot of sciatic nerve pain and back issues, and so I was not someone who enjoyed being pregnant. And I also wanted to be active with Jason, but couldn't be as active as I would have liked to be because I had a baby growing inside of me. And so basically what ended up happening with my birthing experience was at first a little scary, but honestly ideal for me. When I went to my, it was my 39th week appointment, the doctor said, you know, Jonah is ready to come out, but you're not even dilated. And she kind of looked at my pelvic bones and she's like, you know, honestly for you, it might be a hard birthing experience and it may end up in a C-section. She said, likely it would end up in a C-section. And so she said, would you be willing to schedule a C-section? And I thought about it and I decided that yes, I was going to go that route, because if I was going to probably have a C-section regardless, due to, you know, my body composition, I would rather just have that C-section than go through who knows how many hours of labor and then have the C-section. So I scheduled the C-section. The reason that was really nice is because there was predictability with that. I knew when I was going in, and so having Jason, you know, he was 7.5 months, almost 8 months when Jonah was born. And so having that date solidified and then having my parents be able to come and help with Jason as I was having my C-section and Mike was in the room was awesome. And most of you probably have watched videos of women describing their C-sections. For me, I wasn't super nervous actually. I had a certain amount of calm and zen going into it just because I don't know, I think I was so tired from the entire pregnancy that I was just ready to get it over with, so to speak. And the best way I can describe a C-section is it's uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt, it's just uncomfortable. And I actually got sick during the C-section, which they said could happen. A lot of women end up throwing up, and I did, just a little bit. And basically they took Jonah out and Jonah didn't cry right away. So I was just like, you know, is he out? And they're like, yeah, and they showed him to us. And Jonah was so much different looking than Jason when he came out. Jonah was like purple, blue, wrinkly, tiny. He was just 7 pounds. And so that was in stark contrast to Jason, who was just like, you know, full and just like rosy cheeks. Looks like he had been out of the womb for like 2 months when he came out. And Jonah looked like a little alien. But it was so awesome because as soon as I was wheeled from the operating room into my hospital room, Jason was there and able to meet Jonah. And so that to me was the most precious moment of life to date, when Mike and I went into the hospital room, and there was Jason waiting to meet Jonah. And now, knowing what wonderful friends they are and how they are inseparable, I look back at that moment and just think that's where it all started. Jason looking down at Jonah and Jonah looking up at Jason, and that's where their friendship started and their brotherhood. And now Jonah will be 3 in a couple weeks, and Jason will be 4 this fall. And they're, like I said, they're best friends. They're inseparable. It's just like, you know, it was meant to be that they be brothers. And so yeah, it was hard. It was very hard to be pregnant and to have a newborn baby to take care of, but I would never ever change it for the world. These boys are meant to be brothers. It's so clear. And I think, you know, I thank God every day that he gave me these boys. They're my life and I love them. They've brought so much joy into our family, and I'm so thankful. And another thing that I just want to say is that something that happened to me, because if you've given birth, you can relate. If you've had a baby, there's just a lot of emotions that come up after the birth of your child. And one of the distinct emotions I remember was extreme gratitude and emotion towards Megan for having given birth to Jason and then given him to us. And I didn't understand the level of that until I experienced Jonah's birth. It just touched me on a whole different level. I remember texting Megan that day in the hospital and just saying, you know, Jonah's born, Jason has a brother. Thank you so much. What you did is now even more epic in my mind. And, you know, she was thankful for that text, and she, you know, was so happy that Jason had a brother. She really liked that. And I mean, it's interesting now too. I'm sure a lot of people will wonder, you know, how is your relationship with Megan nowadays? Well, now we're living down south. We're living in Houston, and Megan is still up north. She's in like the northern part of Wisconsin. And so we are very far away distance-wise from her, but we still do keep in touch for sure. And she sees pictures of Jason, and we show Jason pictures of her. And so, you know, we still are definitely involved in each other's lives, and that's how it's always going to be. It's never going to be anything different than that. I'm totally comfortable and confident with my relationship with Megan, and I love Megan. I love Megan like she is, you know, part of our family, and she is part of our family. And so some people might think that's a little unconventional, but I think that it's beautiful. I would not have it any other way. I'm so blessed that Jason's birth mom loves us and we love her. I'm just so grateful for it. And so that is my story. It's, like I said, a little unconventional. You know, normally that's not how how things happen, how you get your children. But it was a very special time in my life. And even now, the boys aren't in school yet, so I still have a lot of time with them. And I'm reminded daily of what a neat situation this is. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask. If you ask below this video, I can always do a follow-up video, but for now, this is it. This is all I'll do unless you have other questions, either in regards to adoption or open adoption, or dealing with birth mothers, or if you have questions about trying to conceive, or just questions about my story, my personal story. Ask away. I'm totally willing to help anyone. I've actually mentored a few different women who are going through the adoption process, and so I'm very passionate about that. Adoption is not something that's less than. It's not a second option. It's a beautiful, beautiful choice that not only the birth mother makes, but the adoptive parents make, and it's not, you know, it's not something to take lightly, of course, neither is getting pregnant, but it is a beautiful, beautiful process, and it has its ups and downs, but the result of it is just amazing. Okay, I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you later.